Once again, welcome my dear viewer to Dr. Paul Kebisho YouTube channel. This one goes to, of course, our government, and this is the government to help us validate education. I have on many occasions, and I'm saying it without fear once again, I have been on very many occasions, let me say, with a lot of humility, I have been challenged by quite a number of people in my life. And more so when it comes to issues to do with education. And that is why I'm requesting our able government to help us, we as scholars, validate our education. I happen to be in a forum which is called Nyeri PhD Scholars Forum, where I was elected to be the organizing secretary, where we have more than 30 professors, full professors, and more than over 200 PhD holders. And let me say that people have actually been scorning me somehow. All people have even used me, some due to the media houses that we have in Kenya, and trying to kind of, with contempt, talk about education. This thing has really hit me hard and badly. I feel bad about it, number one, because I am a parent. For those who normally follow me on my YouTube channel, today I'll take about maybe 10 minutes to discuss about education and the benefits of education. I believe majority of us people know the benefits of education. I don't have to belabor on this particular point. However, because people seem to be belittling education in the Republic of Kenya, I am calling upon our good government, without prejudice, to actually rethink and, of course, reposition the minds of Kenyans when it comes to matters education. I have really felt sometimes low completely. I sometimes feel bad, extremely, very, very bad. I sometimes even lack words to encourage my children when it comes to matters education, educated as I am. And at times, I'm lost for words. And allow me to approach this issue from various angles so that maybe whoever gets a chance of listening to this may see the need maybe to join me and, of course, maybe come up with a solution that will make our children and those also in school as we speak right now get motivated to study. Because as we speak at the moment, I think many young children are demotivated, very demotivated, extremely demotivated. And I thought it was good for me to share this particular platform where I know it is being watched globally by a number of people. Some of them are decision makers. You never know, maybe through this particular video live stream, it may give me maybe some mileage. You never know. God works in ways that you can't understand. But one of the things that I want to talk about is we must validate our education. And how do we validate our education? Personally, I'm not employed. I'll start giving a very brief history of myself so that people may get to know that is what we call striving in life. And the success is not given on a silver platter. And it pains my heart to the core. It even sends a very cold chill through my spine when I see people playing around with education. Education is a process. Education is it's not an easy thing. It is not a walk in the park. I'll come talk about it even and talk about my doctorate. But I want to share a few things to those people who may be watching me at the moment. And I'm appealing to those people. I hope, it is my hope that those people who are in positions of making decisions may hear me. And if by chance an opportunity arises, I don't mind. Now, I started working as an insurance man when I was a Form 4 leaver. I was born and brought up in a very, very, very poor family background, as I had intimated in my other video shooting that is in my YouTube channel. I was born in a forest called Kiadogoro Forest in Nyeri. And as I said, it was 18 kilometers west of Nyeri town. My parents were very, very poor. And talking of my parents being poor is another statement, is a misnomer. It is, for a better word, losing definition. We were poor. My parents were extremely poor. I think, I don't know how to define that poverty level, but we were poor. As I had said earlier on in my YouTube channel, Dr. Paul Kebicho, my father, according to him, although he has since left us, he left us about 18 years ago, may he rest in peace. And I also lost my mother on 23rd March 2018. So I'm an orphan. My father was actually a peasant farmer. And what he did, because there were some government employees who used to work in the forest, he got some friends who invited him to go and join up with them. Though he was not in the government payroll, but he could learn accolades here and there. He could till the land, and the government could come and plant trees. And in the process, he married my late mother, and they said 10 of us. Happened to be the fourth born. And it was a very bad situation. I'll not go back to that. But I'm one person who was sent home for school fees balance 21 record times. Yes, underline that. I was sent home for school fees balances 21 record times. I did very well in my KCPE, but I could not be taken to a good school because my parents could not afford to educate me in a boarding school. I was supposed to go to Cadet Secondary School, Box 213 Nyeri, where Mr. Mogo was the principal then. But instead of being taken to Cadet Secondary School, I was taken to another school, which was affordable by the standards of my parents' income from the subsistence farming, which was called Radhavine Secondary School, Box 213 Nyeri, and the headmaster, then they were being called headmasters, not principals, was Mr. Erastus Oirago Munyere. I thank him up to this date. In the year 1988, first of all, to give a background, and for people to appreciate how in the year 1988, when I was in Form 1, for school fees, I was actually, no, the government of the then President Moi gave an eviction order that all people who were living in forest and they were not government employees, they were to be evicted. We were victims. And that was the year 1988 when I was in Form 1. We had nowhere to go. I want to most sincerely thank Mr. Washiori Wadimi. May he rest in peace. He passed on a few years ago, who found it kind enough to give us a place to live for a few days as my parents organized on where we were to go because we had nowhere to go. So he gave us one of his old houses. He housed us for 3 months. And luckily, my grandmother, mother to my dad, may she also rest in peace, whom we have also lost, had bought a piece of land in a place called Nanyuki Daiga, a place called Daiga in Nanyuki, one of semi-arid areas. The place does not experience good rainfall. He had bought one share, and one share was equivalent to 1 acre. So we went there. So my brothers, my elder brothers and my sister, so they decided to go and help my parents put up a small house, a mud ward house, where we later on relocated, courtesy of a good Samaritan who gave us a lorry. So by then I was in Form 1. So what happened, to cut the whole story short, my mother had a friend within a place called Gaiduri in Nyeri, for those who understand the area. There was a lady who was my mother's friend who housed me for a few months. And due to a number of factors I will not mention in this particular video stream, I could not stay there for long. So I decided to go. When we closed school, I went to my parents and I told them all the way to Nanyuki in a place called Daiga, I'm not going to go back there. If it means stopping going through education, so be it. And I could just find myself that even the likes of Jaga Kalume, they were not formally educated, yet they had become billionaires. So there was a very near reason to justify my situation. But inside me, there was that deep calling of me going back to school. My brother, the second-born brother, John Gashusha, who by then he was working at a place called Ihide at the Nyao Tison Development Corporation as a supervisor. He was earning about 500 shillings per month. So I requested him, although he had a very small house in a place called Kena, I requested him to house me to complete my education. Now, from that place called Ihide, Kena, to a place called Garavine High School was a distance of more than 30 kilometers one way. So I was covering 60 kilometers daily. And despite that big distance notwithstanding, because we were unable to pay school fees, my parents could not afford paying school fees, and my brother was earning a little money and he had a family. So that is why I became a victim of being sent home for 21 record times. However, in the midst of all that, I had this strong resolve in my heart that I was going to excel academically. So what did I do? I decided that no matter what, I'm going to finish my school. My brother kept on paying school fees for me, Albert in bits, but it made me go through. And I want to thank Mr. Elastas Wailabo Monyere, wherever he is, and the late deputy head teacher then, who was called Mr. Jeremiah Mutuaruhio. And I want to thank Mrs. Mwangi, the late Mrs. Mwangi, Mama Diba, Mama Madu, sorry. I want to thank you most sincerely. I want to thank Mr. Alex Keragori. I want to thank Mr. Daniel Garagari, Mr. Kingori, my agriculture teacher, though he passed on last year, but one, may he rest in peace. Mr. Paul Mwagi Kangeta, the Kiswahili teacher who made me to be the person I am today, among others. I owe you people a lot, and may God remember you. And for those who have since left us, may God grant you eternal peace. Now, problems never come in grey. I remember when I was doing my Form 4 in the year 1991, there was a leakage of exam. To us, leakage was a foreign term. To us, people in the bushes in Kiadogoro, we had no idea what leakage was all about. Unfortunately, now we became victims of circumstances, and therefore, we were to do our exams in the month, we cleared our exams in the month of December, which was not a very good encounter with us. Now, after doing the exams, of course, I did well, and January 1992, I thought I was to look for a way of making some money in order to make ends meet. So I was now back at home in Nanyuki. I built a small house using the proceeds of digging pit latrines for the neighbors and, of course, making fences for the neighbors. And a guy called Mr. Kemani, all the way from Narumoro, came, who was playing what we call the percussion instruments. He recruited me into his team, and we started now going to schools, primary schools, where we could charge a shilling from class 1 to standard 3 and 2 shillings from class 4 to standard 8. So gradually, I made some money that enabled me to, as I was going, I decided to go back to Galaline, where I was schooling, and I had gone there to visit my friend by the name Mr. Aboko Kariuki, Mario Aboko Kariuki. So when I went there, I needed to go and answer the call of nation. That time, getting a toilet paper was a preserve of the rich. So what I decided to do, I went to the toilet and I was trying to relieve myself. I found in the newspaper something reading like this: that earn 1,000 shillings while undergoing salesmanship training course and 6,000 shillings upon clearance. That was music to my ears. I can tell you, and I can confess to you right now, I never used that newspaper for that purpose. So I had to look for another page and, of course, finish the business upon which Mother Nature required me to do. So I went home very, very happy, and I told my parents I have gotten something that I can do. So the college was called Diplomat of Kiabu. When I told my parents that money was required for that particular course, because money was an issue to them, then they were not as excited as I was. In fact, the excitement was all mine. So using my own ingenuity, I thought of now going out the village, soliciting for funds from my neighbors at home. So I prepared a list, and I told them what I wanted to go and do, and I could show them the newspaper. And I was able to collect 3,800 shillings. That was in the year 1992, in the month of August. And using my little resources, about 10,000 shillings, that made me to go to a place called Diplomat of Kiabu, Nyahururu branch, which was in Rest House, for those people who understand Rest House in Nyahururu, where I started my diploma career for insurance. After I cleared my course anyway, diploma insurance, I went to an insurance company, worked with them from 1992, 21st September to 1994. Then 1994, up to 1994, I then moved to another company that I worked for over 20 years, which was called Pan Africa Life. Today it is called Sanlam. And I'm also still selling insurance as we speak. Though it is not my desired career now, I can confess, because if I was selling insurance when I was a Form 4 leaver, then it would beat every logic for me to be doing the same thing I was doing when I was actually not academically well up. So what do I want to say now? Let's come back to my first diploma in insurance. I did my second diploma in business management at Nairobi University. I did my diploma in theology from PC University. I did what we call marketing at Nairobi University. I did what we call advanced salesmanship diploma at Onsogo and our company associates, among other courses that I have done. Then I did my first degree, Bachelor of Business Administration, majoring in what we call sales and marketing. Then I did my second degree, Master of Business Administration, majoring in what we call strategic management. I went ahead and did a doctorate from JKUAT, Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration, majoring in what we call strategic management. And then upon graduating, I registered with Mktg University, where I did my Bachelor of Laws degree. So I'm a trained lawyer. And I've already been given my data to join what we call the ATD. That is what we call the Advocates Training course, diploma. And so I cleared my law degree in the year 2017, and I graduated on that August 2018. So in terms of education, I have got 4 degrees and about 6 diplomas. Now, what hits me most is this, and this is now my request to the authorities, and this is my request to those people who have got opportunities for people who have seen books. I have children who are still studying. My firstborn daughter is about 25 years of age. She has seen me do go through my education course, and now she has been asking me, Daddy, does it mean that even with all this education, because I've displayed them on my sitting room, you can't secure another job other than what you've been doing all along? And when they find me to be in the same level that I was in when I was actually still a Form 4 leaver, so to speak, that's not over very well. So I'm calling upon the government of Kenya, and I'm calling upon all employers with jobs out there. Let us first of all appreciate those people who have gone through education. Let's give them jobs. Let us embrace what we call meritocracy, where we look at an individual, not from where he comes from, not from which tribe he comes from, not from which county he comes from, but by the qualifications that one holds. It does not matter whether it is Mwangi or Yugi, Wafula, or Mtata. It does not matter. As long as you have the skills and competencies, let's give jobs to people who deserve. Let's give jobs to people who deserve. And again, how now? Sometimes I'm faced by a very, very difficult situation. How do I encourage my children to study hard when they can see first degree, second degree, third degree, fourth degree, and I'm still struggling the way I was? It is not a very good thing. It's a very, very terrible situation to be in. So for my life, using the education I have, I normally do what we call consultancies. I run a consulting firm by the name Panorama Consulting Company. I'm the CEO there because the company belongs to me and my brother, Mr. Peter Masharia. During the COVID-19 time, we had a rough time, even now, because the consultancies that we do are for corporates. And that one tells me, just like I have discussed in my other YouTube channel programs, that sometimes we people, despite the levels of education, sometimes we suffer even with the education that we have. And that's why I'm calling upon the government of the day, if it can find it upon itself to give us opportunities to serve, we'd appreciate. I remember we registered 46 of us for PhD. Only 10 of us have graduated from year 2009. It is not a walk in the park. Since Kenya became independent, the statistics that we have as we speak right now, we have less than 14,000 PhD holders. If I can be in that small group of less than now 8,000 people who are alive, the rest have passed on. And surely out of 50 million, and with only 8,000 people, and not all of us 8,000 don't have promising engagements, I would urge the people who matter to consider us, and consider me in particular, because it is personal, it is individual. So I want to call upon, and if you have a company that requires what we call strategic planning, I'm an expert in that. A company that requires marketing team to be established and to be shown the way how to conduct business, I'm there to do that. I do lecture in the university. I thank God, although I do it on part-time basis. I lecture on 4 units. I lecture what we call leadership and innovation in the university at Tagasa University. I lecture on what we call business law and taxation. I lecture on what we call sales, startup, and negotiations. And I lecture on what we call company law, and of course, strategy and marketing principles. So I want to call upon those people who may have opportunities to kindly consider people who have gone through education. It's not easy to get a degree. It is not easy to get a master's. Neither is it easy to get a PhD. And so I call upon the people who matter, wherever you can hear me in the world, that we have to consider people who have actually done what others have not done. And mostly we look at what we call the aptitude and the competencies and what one has. And after all, again, I'll say this, and I'm challenging the employers also out there. When sometimes you ask people with experience, one wonders, where will one have gathered the experience to be given this particular job? Allow me to ask this question with a lot of humility. When a member of parliament is elected to become a member of parliament, where did he practice his parliamentarian role? Yeah, where did he practice? He learns on the job. And I want to demystify this thinking from the employers that one must have experience. From where do you expect this person to get experience from? Even the president himself, our president, and the presidents who have been there before, they were never presidents of any other nations or other kingdoms. They became presidents and they did the job and they ran the job on the job. So I want us to demystify this thinking. It beats the logic personally. I feel bad about it. It is only a way of actually trying to block people from accessing jobs. When you say that one has to get to have had experience, from where do you want this person to have gotten experience from? From where? From where? I've given a scenario that even, for instance, even when a principal becomes a principal, yes, he might have deputized. But by virtue of him deputizing does not make him to have been a principal or to have been a head teacher. He becomes a head teacher or a principal, and then he practices his roles and responsibilities when he's in that particular job. Cabinet secretaries, for instance, permanent secretaries. Where were they permanent secretaries before? Where were they cabinet secretaries before? Where were them from, first of all, from the political arena? Let us not try to create obstacles. We must learn away from the philosophy of Max Weber, bureaucracies. We must face facts as they are. Yes, I have been given a consultancy to learn a marketing team for more than 9 years. I thank God I had that privilege. I was not a GM before, but I did the job well. So let's not use that one as a stubborn block to us people getting jobs. We ran, yes, even a pope. He was not a pope before he became the pope. Yes, he was in the Regia circles, yes, but not in that position. But he's doing it. Yes, nobody has been to heaven, going to heaven and back to tell us how to practice, how to behave in heaven. But we have hope and trust that when God takes us, they will be able to manage and get assimilated to the situations of life hereafter. So let us not, if there is a job that can be given to Kibisho, for instance, as a managing director, rest assured I'll learn on the job, I'll do the job. Yes, there are teething problems. Even in Kenya, before we had the devolution, those governors were governors right now. They were not governors before. Where were they governors before? We never used to have those county governments, but they have done it. We have seen somebody like Professor Kivuda Kibwana who has done it so well in Machakos County. We have seen Dr. Alfred Mutua doing it very well. We have seen people like Mutahi Kahiga of Nyeri County government doing it very well. Where were they governors? Mutahi Kahiga was a teacher. Yes, even the former governor for Barigo was a teacher. Yes, so let us not try to create situations that do not add value to us people. So I'm calling upon the people who matter. Give us jobs wherever you are. We'll do it. Whatever level, we'll do it. And let's validate education. It pains every parent out there, and I'm saying as a parent, it even pains my spouse. It pains my children right from home, because by the Bible says Jerusalem starts at home. I did extremely well, by the way. I can say it here without fear or any doubt that I was the leading student during my PhD at Jomo Kenyatta. You can ask Professor Namsoge Gregor. You can ask Professor Odhiambo, now the Vice Chancellor of Meru University. I had over 5 A's at PhD level, but I'm still here. Even Masters, I did very well. Even Bachelors, the 2 Bachelors I have, I did very, very well. So it's not about not having done well that has denied me the opportunity. It is because I can't appoint myself anywhere. I have to be given I have requested even for consultancies. Again, due to a number of factors that are not mentioned in this particular video streaming, you still don't secure those jobs. There are still other things that come into play. And my professional values and beliefs tells me that it is good when things are done the right way. So I appeal to all those people watching on my YouTube channel, kindly, please, let's learn to validate education. What do I tell my daughter now? Especially I have a candidate. I have got 2 daughters in Form 4. I have a standard 8 daughter also. What do I tell them, by the way? I had raised this question on my Twitter account. What do I tell my children? I appeal to anyone out there looking for a man, a charismatic man, a pragmatic man, a man of action, a man full of energy, a man full of changing things and turning things aloud, and a man who believes there's no mountain that is insurmountable. Look, if you're looking for that person, here he is, Dr. Paul Mwangi Kebicho. Equal to any task. and I have decided to go public now. So if you have any job that you can offer to me that requires my training, I'm more than willing to do it. And I don't actually, personally, I do not discriminate. I'll work. Even now, I'm still selling insurance at my level with my 4 degrees and 6 diplomas. I'm still selling insurance because at this point in time, let me confess here, I have looked for jobs. I have applied for jobs. I have gone for interviews, and whatever transpires, only God in heaven knows. So here I am. Not that I've been endorsed, not that I've been docile. No, I'm a very active person, and for those people who know me, very active. I've done consultancies, yes, but they can't sustain me forever. So I'm still here with a family that I'm bringing up. I'm educated as I am. I'm still doing jobs that can be done by even a Form 4 leaver without prejudice. But I think it is advisable, whoever out there who can hear me, that this brain should be used. There's no point of putting an engine of a Range Rover into a Fit. And in the grave, brains will not be required. In the grave, there are no jobs. In the graves, there are no responsibilities. In the graves, there rise great minds that were never used, that were never tapped. The fact that I'm a child of a peasant farmer anyway should not stop me from becoming the person who can serve in an organization. I've even applied to some companies, I've not mentioned their names here, even getting a regret no. And I'm also calling upon employers, if you're not giving somebody a job who had taken a bit of time to apply for a job, give back a regret. Communication is never complete without a feedback. Give back a regret. I have applied in some of those telecommunication organizations in Kenya with my competencies, and there has been no response. So I'm also calling upon those people who employ people out there kindly. People look at me as their role model. Little do they know that as they look upon me as a role model, I have challenges that I'm also looking for to getting solutions for. I have challenges. And the people that I look forward to giving me solutions also, sometimes they fail me, which happens in life. So I hope that year 2021 will be a year with a difference. I pray that God is going to open doors for us. I pray that the 8,000 people who hold PhDs, okay, we appreciate those who are vice chancellors. We appreciate those people who are deans in various faculties, those people who are comfortable wherever they are. But the few who have not yet been able to get areas that they can really call permanent areas, I hope that our good government out there will do something about them, me included, because we can make a difference in the Republic of Kenya. I have done my part. I have gone to school. I have sat down like a student, being a student for 22 years. And personally, I was looking forward to being used to help in areas that may require my knowledge and expertise. I hope somebody out there has had that, and something good going to happen. May God bless you. May God bless Kenya. May God grant us peace globally so that we may be able to do what He has called us to do. God bless you all. Should you want to contact me, by the way, you can. My number is 0713-534-65. 0713-534-65. You can drop me an email at paulkebisho@gmail.com. paulkebisho@gmail.com. Should you want to know more about Kebisho, you can visit my YouTube channel, Dr. Paul Kebisho YouTube channel. You can even go to my website and see what I do, just in case there's a cause that may resonate with the organization. Kindly feel free to give me a call. That is www.panorama-consultants.com. I'll be glad. And I look forward to a positive year 2021. God bless you all as we validate education in Kenya.